Is it possible to make the Beast Master Ranger subclass any good? Now, in normal D&D, it is widely regarded as one of the worst subclasses, not only just for the Ranger, but in general. In Baldur's Gate 3, it's actually not too bad. Let's dip into what we can do. So, for this build, we are really going to be a caster and ranged character, and the Beast itself isn't really a DPS thing, it's more of a meat shield, to be honest. But there are things we can do to sort of buff ourselves up. So, to make this build really work, we're going to do level by level as always, and a combat tutorial. So, we will start with our favoured enemy, and this is what you get with the Ranger level 1. And we will go with the Bounty Hunter. You have proficiency in investigation, and creatures you hit with ensnaring strike have disadvantage on their saving throws. And from this, it depends if this is your main character or if it will be just one of your companions. Urban Tracker, I would do if it's your main character. If it's going to be one of your side people, I would do Beast Tamer. For me personally, this is how I would do things. I would have 16 Dex and 16 Constitution. They'd be my main two, just to help you with those concentration spells. 14 Wisdom, 10 Charisma, 8 Intelligence, and 10 Strength. This would be how I have this build set up. Your proficiencies, as always, take whatever you want. And we are going to go level by level now. In my opinion, with the Beast Master Ranger, you really don't want to multi-class. I think multi-classing really hinders it. Whereas in some of them, it can really help it. I think with this, it's a big detriment if you do try and multi-class. So this is going to be a pure Beast Master build. So, Ranger level 2, we now have access to some spells. And I think the one we should start with is Hunter's Mark. It's a bonus action, and it will give you extra damage every time you hit. And to tie into our starting choices, I'll take Ensnaring Strike. Your attack summons thorny vines that possibly ensnare your target. And for anyone that doesn't know, ensnaring is amazing. It basically means you advantage on attack rolls while the creature is stuck, and disadvantage on saving throws. It's really good. And as I said, this will be a ranged build, so we are going to take the archery. So this is a +2 to ranged weapon attacks. Ranger level 3, and this is where the Beast Master begins. We are now going to go with Hail of Thorns. So the thorns deal weapon damage to the target and then explode. The explosion deals an additional 1 to 10 piercing damage to the target and surrounding creatures. And as I said, Beast Master, and this gives us our Ranger companion. Gain a Beast companion that accompanies you on your adventures and fights alongside you. Okay, Ranger level 4. Now we are going to start buffing our build out, and you can probably guess where we're going. It is Sharpshooter. Your ranged weapon attacks do not receive penalties from high ground rules. Now, high ground rules. When you attack from above, you get a +2 advantage to attack roll. When you attack from below, you have a -2 penalty. This removes that penalty, so you can shoot from below. Amazing. Now, if you choose, you can toggle it on and off, but the whole point of Sharpshooter is you can take a -5 to hit and deal an additional 10 damage. So if you have such a high chance of hitting, such as, let's say your target is ensnared, or they are stuck with tentacles, whatever, you can turn Sharpshooter on, take a -5 penalty to hitting, especially if you have a high chance, and especially if you have advantage, and just gain a solid 10 additional damage. High risk, high reward, but you can mix it around and you can really just avoid this -2 penalty. And to be honest, the fact that we had the +2 from the archery fighting style, this is only really a -3. Okay, Ranger level 5, and we get an extra attack. This is amazing. We also have Companion's Bond. The bond between you and your animal companion goes stronger. Your proficiency bonus is added to its armor class and its damage rolls. So that's now a +3, I believe. We are now at level 5, so we have another spell. I would personally take Spike Growth. Now, it is a concentration spell, but if you can put this on the ground and have the enemies do 2 to 8 piercing damage just for walking through, you can really chip away at enemies' health. Your only other option here, in my opinion, would be Pass Without Trace or Dark Vision, but for me, I will take Spike Growth. Okay, we are now Ranger level 6, so we get 2 more passives. So first of all, Keeper of the Veil. This gives us proficiency on Arcana, and allows us to cast protection from good and evil. Your other option would be Ranger Knight, if you want to wear heavy armor. It's up to you at this point. I like Keeper of the Veil, and I'd rather have medium armor. But if you want to be a bit more bulky, then go with this and get the heavy armor proficiency. And again, for your Natural Explorer, if you choose to, you could take a Wasteland Wanderer. I think Poison's good, Fire's good. Again, Urban Tracker, you can't really go wrong. We're just going to take poison. Okay, Ranger level 7 gives us another spell, but it also gives us exceptional training. Your animal companion can dash, disengage, and help as a bonus action, and the helping as a bonus action is amazing, and dashing like a cutting action for a rogue, phenomenal. This is really where the beast itself can really become a very versatile companion on the battlefield. For your spell here, I would go with either Long Strider or Dark Vision. You can't really go wrong with either, but for me, Long Strider is just a little bit better. Okay, Ranger level 8, we have another feat, and we have a Land's Stride. Become an expert and moving through the wilderness, and difficult terrain no longer slows you down. Amazing stuff. Now, when it comes to our feat, there are two options here. I personally would go for the ASI to bump your dex up. The other one you could do is Alert. So you gain a +5 to initiative, and can't be surprised. This would boost you up the initiative order. It's really a trade-off. Do you want the less ASIs or do you want Alert? Can't really go wrong in my opinion. I'm just going to take the ASI for the sake of it and bump our dex up. Okay, Ranger level 9. We now have a level 3 spell slot, and there's a few options here. Lightning Arrow is phenomenal. After the arrow hits, smaller bolts snake out from the target towards nearby creatures. There is also Conjure Barrage. You channel your weapon's essence into destructive, widespread volley. They're both amazing. I'm personally going to take Lightning Arrow. I just think this is a little bit better, especially if you have water around. It can really do some big damage. Ranger level 10, Hide in Plain Sight. Camouflage yourself with your environment, become invisible. Again, +10 bonus to stealth checks as long as you stand still, and 2 more passives. At this point, I would take Ranger Knight, because why not? You might as well get the heavy armor if you choose to. And take another one of these, we'll just take Wasteland Wanderer Fire. Okay, we're now level 11, and we've hit the 100 threshold for health, which is phenomenal. 103 in total. And Bestial Fury. Your bond with your companion has deepened, unlocking their inner strength and giving them an extra attack, which now means your character itself has 2 attacks, and your beast has 2 attacks. That is 4 attacks on your round, just from this one character. At this point, we will take Conjure Barrage, and our final level, Ranger level 12. Now, theoretically, you could dip into Fighter if you want to, but I don't think that's worth it to give up the feat. And again, same as before, you could do Alert or boost your ASI. I'm going to boost the ASI to 20. Okay, so that is our build. Now let's look at some items. This is what I will be personally using. To begin with, we have the Divination Cloak. When you poison a foe, heal yourself for 1d4 hit points. Now you might be thinking there are other options we have. There's the Cloak of Protection, which will give you +1 to armor class. Again, that's very helpful. We currently have a 21 armor class though, so I'm not too worried. For medium armor, I would take the Yuan-Ti Scale Mail. Now, exotic material, add your full dexterity modifier to your armor class, and you don't have disadvantage on stealth checks. This, I think, is the best armor for a ranger, in my opinion. It also gives you a +1 to your initiative rolls, so if you did take Alert, you now have a +6 extra. Evasive shoes, +1 to acrobatics and a +1 to armor class. The Incarus gloves, when the wearer deals acid damage, they also inflict noxious fumes on the targets. And if you saw my last build, the King of the Dead, noxious fumes basically just means anyone within the vicinity of the enemy will also take damage from the fumes given off. The Strange Conduit Ring, while concentrating on a spell, the wearer's weapons do an additional 1 to 4 psychic damage. And with this build, we will be concentrating on a lot of spells, whether it's Hunter's Mark at early levels or Hunter's Mark at high levels, to be honest, because the extra dive damage is worth it. Whether it's other spells, can't really go wrong with this one. I personally like the Crusher's Ring just for the extra 3 meters of movement, but you could take another ring that gives you more damage on top of your weapon attacks. The Strange Tendril Amulet, and this gives you Envel's Black Tentacles, and I love this because it just stops enemies in their tracks, and I think it's one of the best spells in the game. And because it's concentration, this will couple with the Strange Conduit Wing. And for a bow, I personally like the Darkfire Short Bow. You get Haste, which is a concentration spell. So again, ties into the Strange Conduit Ring and is phenomenal. The other option you could go with is the Dead Shot. Improve critical, the number you need to roll critical hit while attacking is reduced by 1. And Keen Attack. The Wielder bonus their proficiency bonus when rolling ranged attacks with this weapon unless they have disadvantage. So Dead Shot is really good for coupling with Sharpshooter, So again, you can't really go wrong. Both are really good. Kind of depends on what you want to do. I prefer haste a little bit, just over, but it depends how often you're going to use haste. If you are concentrating other spells, then the dead shot is worth it, and it does look really cool. Okay, so that is the build setup. We are going to go grab a companion because we need to round out our team, and then we will see you there. Okay, so before we begin, we have to get our ranger companion. So this lasts until short rest. So if they die, you can short rest and they will come back, and each one has its own benefits. So for example, the black bear can endure heavy attacks and draws the enemy's attention with its goading roar. Really good for basically being a big tank. The boar, so a boar that can sweep through the battlefield and knock enemies prone. Again, really good. The spider, so the spider, you can summon this and it will shoot webs and poison enemies with its bite. The raven can fly, which is very helpful, and can blind enemies. And we have the wolf, and this can knock enemies down with its lunging bite. So we're going to show off all of these just to see how they do. Let's go find some fights. Okay, as you can see, we are in the fight, and we are first in the turn order. Now, we get to start with our lovely wolf. But we're going to start with our ranger. Now, as a bonus action, we are going to Hunter's Mark, the gentleman here. We're now concentrating on a spell, so our ring will kick in. Actually, we have a 95% chance to hit. But if I come in here, turn sharpshooter on. Never mind, it was already on. More for me. We're going to take a shot, and you're going to see just how much damage we can do. There you go, we did 24 with our first hit. Now, in my opinion, a big part of this build is using things like these. The arrows you can pick up. So, we will take a shot. And there you go, see the crit we did, and we did so much damage. We can now end our turn, and you'll see our big tanky wolf come in here. We'll kill that one, and then we'll come over here. And they are now septic, because that is what the wolf does. And now if we check out this septic, Constitution reduced by 1, and disadvantage on Constitution saving throws. Okay, this time we're going to show you what the Raven is like. But again, just a few small options. Instead of concentrating on Hunter's Mark, we could concentrate on Enbar's Black Tentacles thanks to our spell. Now, unfortunately, they did save, which is really annoying, because it does make it hard for them to walk through. But we still then have the option of ending our turn, and we still have our Raven to go. Now, unfortunately, it's ensnared, which isn't ideal. But you can see just how good these tentacles are that we're concentrating on. It really slows the enemies down, and the barbarian is struggling to now get to us. You can see our lovely little bird here has advantage now on its attacks. So, a nice little 13. It also has a bunch of stuff like this. So, attack a creature's eyes and render it blind. So, if we would come in here, unfortunately we missed, but if that would have hit, we would have rendered them blind. The other benefit is it can fly over the tentacles. Just like that. So you can come in here, smack things while flying above the tentacles that no one can walk through, and with the rest of your team, really start picking these people off. Okay, now we have a lovely little spider, so as always, make sure your ranger goes first, just because why not, and get Hunter's Mark down. Some form of concentration, especially if you're using items that do more damage, and like I said, a key part of this build really is using these arrows that you have. For example, the arrows are many targets. If we were to do that, you'll see we hit everyone around here. We could then come back in, and because we have an extra attack, we can use more of these arrows. So if we did another arrow of many targets, you'll see they're almost dead, they're at half health, and they're almost dead, just from one round. This means your spider could come in, and ideally hit and then venomous bite them and kill them. Like such. But you can also cocoon, so you could trap a creature and it'll be stuck. You can do web, and web is really good for entrapping people. There's lots of flexibility and adaptability with the spider companion. So as you can see, our AC is so good they missed 3 attacks in a row.
Need to stay focused.
And now we have the boar. Now the boar is really good because it can rage, which is insane. And it can do boar charge, as well as just a normal tusk attack. So if we were to do a rage, there we go. We can now do a charge, and the charge will knock enemies prone if it hits. Unfortunately, it missed both, but that's what would happen. We could try again, though. And there you go. In fact, it did so much damage, it just killed it outright. But that's what boar is good at. It can just tank, be really bulky, and just damage deal. Okay, and finally we have the bear. Now the bear is the lowest in the turn order, but that's fine, because it gives us time to shove some of these more moves. For example, lightning arrow. So if we were to do that on the gentleman here, you can see, once again, it's just like a normal lightning arrow, but it's the spell version, and we do extra damage to the people around. Okay, so let's see how much damage the bear does. 13, so it's not a bad little damage dealer, to be honest. It's pretty good for what it is. But having almost 100 health, it's phenomenal. Now, target is too close, so we have a 95% chance to hit. That's how insane this is. Let's do it. Let's get our arrow of many targets again. And we'll target the one right in front of us. And you'll see bulk damage once again. Even with being so close and sharpshooter, we're still doing a bulk load of damage to the enemy. Okay, so you've seen how much damage the companions can do, but they are also able to do this. They can res up your downed characters. Now, it's unlikely you'll want them to do this because you can throw potions, you can do heals, but if you have a companion that's too far away, your boar is able to get them back up, which I think is a really cool little feature. However, it is an action, so you won't get to attack, but it is pretty good if you can put your companion on one side, your ranger on the other, and sort of flank people. Then if someone does go down, your boar or your bird or whatever is capable of saving your characters. And again, because we have sharpshooter, we do not get penalized for having low ground.
Let's get this over with.
As you can see there, we did 24 damage. And once again, we could come back in here with another arrow. I love my arrow of many targets. I think that's great for a ranger, because then you can do damage like that. And there is our kill shot. And that is how you make the Beastmaster actually pretty good in Baldur's Gate. I think the Beast itself is phenomenal. It's so versatile, so helpful. The fact you have 5 different options as well. I think the boar and the wolf are probably my favourites, because I think they're just insanely good. Especially having the wolf be able to give people a septic, so they get a minus to their constitution and they can fail saving throws and all sorts. Phenomenal. If you've enjoyed, please drop the episode a like. It helps me amazingly. If you're new and you're not subscribed, if you'd like to, that would also be amazing. Let me know in the comments below what one was your favourite, or what you changed about this build or whatever. And hopefully, see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.